Hi guys, welcome to another video. Obviously in the previous video, you guys saw just a little bit of the, process of getting the engine and subframe or engine and transmission out with the subframe from underneath. I didn't really film that much because, it was my first time doing it. I wanted to pay attention and it's just too much. It was just too much for me. Plus, obviously there's another very detailed engine pulling video on YouTube for this specific car. So if you really wanted to follow along, I would just suggest watching that one. But obviously when it comes to building it back up, I am planning on filming. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you guys my spot here, kind of how everything's sitting, and what I'm planning to do over the next couple weeks, because obviously I would love to have it all back on the road before the new year starts. So yeah, let me go ahead and show you that. So right now the car's sitting in its spot without the engine, without the transmission. My wife actually taped this off for me because she's going to help me, or she's going to basically paint all of the red that's still visible in the engine bay, and we're going to make that set in black. So obviously we still have to remove that. We still have to brake clean and degrease everything in here, and potentially even kind of sand a little bit just to get the paint to stick properly. But for now, I think she did a pretty good job. And then over here we got my old power steering line that's going to be replaced. I just have it laying right there. Then moving on towards the back, obviously we can see everything disassembled. It's the torque converter that I'm going to be, I guess, selling, because I'm not going to be able to reuse that with that cam. And then here's basically the rest. The heads and the valve covers, I already put them in my wife's car because those need to be cleaned, go to the machine shop and all that kind of stuff. The transmission is sitting here. I was going to rebuild it myself. Looks like that's still going to be the end outcome, mainly because of the fact that the transmission shops, even having it delivered to them just like that, plus me buying all the parts, they still want to have $2,200 to do it, and I don't think that that's worth it. And I already got this far without making any mistakes, so that's just what I'm going to be doing. And then obviously we got the block sitting here by itself. Obviously most of it's taken off. Cam is still in there, timing chain is still on there. I haven't taken that off, but just to see for you guys, this is the engine as it is after 140,000 miles. I think it's in really, really good condition for the most part. I mean, really, I haven't seen any damage. My lifters looked fucking amazing. The cylinder walls, you can still see the crosshatch perfectly shown right there. I mean, that is all really good signs. Even the pistons themselves are really not that dirty. There's not a whole lot of carbon, baked into them. So that's a good sign, I'd say. Really, everything looks really clean. This is obviously, I didn't clean anything here. I am right now going to spray some fogging oil on the engine, and then I'm going to put some plastic over it just for the time being, because I don't want it to rust, and I completely forgot about that being a possibility. So thank God it's all stored inside. But yeah, that's one thing that I still have to do. And then obviously we have the intake manifold right there, and then we also have some stuff here in the trunk, right? We got the old headers in there, we got the wiring harness in there still, some, I guess, AC lines, and those are going to be replaced as well. And then in the back seat here of the car, we have my new ceramic coated now OBX headers laying there, and yeah, that's all sitting right there. And then I have to take home this manifold right there, because that's going to be painted in aluminum enamel. And yeah, I've been debating on keeping the bottom end together or tearing it apart and sending it to the machine shop. I think that I am leaning towards just taking it to the machine shop, because at least for a good block clean and having them measure everything. And it seems to be really hard to find an honest machine shop that doesn't want to just rape you financially because you may or may not have the knowledge on that part of the build. So it's been a me going back and forth to different shops and getting quotes and talking to these people in person to get an idea of who I'm working with. And like I said, I think with the block being this clean thus far, I don't think that I hope I'm not going to encounter any damage down in the crankcase, but we don't know until we know. But I think for now it'd be good to just have the block cleaned, hot tanked, get the bores measured, get the cam bearings checked, and if anything needs to be replaced or if anything needs to be resurfaced, then so be it. And if it's not necessary and it's still within spec, then I just want to send it the way it is. Pistons, I'm going to clean those up in this Berryman chem dip that I bought just now, so hopefully that's going to do a good job. I think so. I saw it on another video for an LS4, and that's it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, apologies for me not showing everything. Obviously this is not a small project by any means, plus the fact that I probably am going to end up spending about $7,000 give or take for this whole project right here. So far I've spent $2,700. That doesn't include any of the extra tools that I had to buy. That doesn't include any of the trips back and forth to AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Harbor Freight, all that kind of accessory stuff. That's probably another $1,000 that I've spent in total. Doesn't include the food when I'm here at the shop and all that. I mean, truly am I blessed to be able to do this without taking out a loan or anything like that. But delayed gratification is the thing, so I'm doing one step at a time. And like I said, I spent about $2,700 now for the full chem kit. Within a couple of days of me making this video, I'm going to be ordering my torque converter as well with a higher stall speed. And then basically at that point, all that would be left is the cost that I would have for the machine shop, which hopefully I can be around $500, $600. I'm not sure. And then of course, I'm going to have to buy new rings for the pistons. What else? Probably some ARP hardware if I feel like it. That's for the bottom end, right? I already have ARP head bolts coming, and then you know the stage 2 transmission kit. That's going to be another cost pillar. And then on top of that, also before I forget, since I don't want to do this project again for a very long time, I also am going to be swapping the rack and pinion for a brand new rack and pinion. Brand new power steering line that includes the high pressure one as well as the one that you guys just saw that's laying on the floor, the return hose. And then we're gonna have a new compressor, new AC lines, new condenser, and a new radiator. So by the time it's all said and done, I think I've replaced every component on the car except for the shocks, which that'll be on the books too. And then once we get the engine running, we get the car tuned and everything, I might install a set of Corbeau seats, because I freaking hate the stock seats on this car, and I cannot stand them. I hate sitting on them. And another thing that I want to do is get those Cadillac Brembo brakes for the car. And you know, that's something I'm going to do when I'm driving it, when I break it in, and a little bit later on, as well as a head unit still needs to go into the car to have Apple CarPlay. And then before I forget, an intake manifold. Obviously right now I will be putting on the stock LS4 one for the time being, but obviously since that's a modification I can make to the vehicle with the engine inside the car, I want to get it up and running. I want to get a base tune, and then I think what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go for the LS6 intake manifold, because it's the best flowing one out of all of the options that you can do. And yes, I know some people say, oh, the Trailblazer SS or the TBSS or truck intake flows a little bit better. That is correct, but at the end of the day, you got to think about it this way. This is a front-wheel drive car, so with the added power from the cam, obviously a lot of that is going to be up top. Getting that truck intake manifold is going to give you more low-end torque, which obviously at that power level that I'm going to be having, all that will do is going to be wheel spin. So I'd much rather have the LS6 intake manifold, to where once I kind of get up in the RPMs and I get going, that's when the power band kicks in, because obviously that's what this whole kit is designed to do. And if it was a rear-wheel drive car, it'd be a different story. But in this case, I'm trying to, like, you know, avoid as much wheel spin as I can. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video for whatever it was. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.